Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining today. Obviously, as we know, this is members of the team here, but we're just going to have a quick discussion today, just to find out about the exciting proposals for Barking Community Hospital. But I think it'll be worthwhile because there's people here from different organisations. Whether we just have some introductions from the project team. Vicky.
Hello everyone, I'm Vicky Butler. I'm the Director of Clinical Service Reconfiguration at BHRUT.
And Kelly.
Hi, I'm Kelly West. I'm a project manager with Northmoors and we'll be building the scheme hopefully.
And Pooja.
Hi all, I'm Pooja Chidi, supporting Kelly West with this scheme with the PMO.
And William.
Hi, I'm William Wang. I'm from Llewellyn Davies. I'm the architect for the project.
And Charlotte.
Hi everyone, I'm Charlotte Hutchison. I'm from a company called Carter Jonas. We're managing the preparation of the planning application.
Great. And I'm John Mealy. I work in the communications team here at BHRUT. Great. So I thought what would be worthwhile doing before we actually go through what some of the proposals are is if we actually have a look in terms of why CDCs are needed, community diagnostic centres are needed, and actually what we're looking to do across all of North East London, not just in isolation at Barking. Hopefully you can now see that slide. Okay, it's worth noting to start with. So what are community diagnostic centres? That's a question we do get asked quite a lot of. Following an independent review of diagnostics in October 2020, and this was an independent national review, the NHS committed to increasing the capacity to make sure that people that need to access check scans and tests like MRIs and CTs and blood tests, they have quicker access to those facilities. So looking at what a CDC is, which is, like I said, a community diagnostic centre, a CDC will provide a variety of those different services, those different elective appointments such as ultrasounds and MRIs away from busy hospitals. So at the moment we know we have Queen's and we have King George Hospital. They are very busy, they are acute sites, but a CDC is away from those busy areas. So there've been ideas looking at different pop-ups and having diagnostic centres in shopping centres and areas like that. So what they're really going to do is help to reduce that pressure on our hospitals, but most importantly provide that convenience to patients that they can have more services in their community. Now that's what we're looking to do at a national level, but actually now focusing on what is being proposed across North East London, across our boroughs. So NHS partners across North East London have been working together now for a long time to look at where we can increase that capacity across our boroughs. There's a couple of points here in the presentation. You can see here the demand for tests and scans is continuing to rise, and we've got a stat here where it shows that those waiting lists increased from an average of 6 to 11 days in 2016 to 9 to 22 days in 2022. So what is now being proposed is over the next 3 years, the NHS across North East London expects to receive just short of 40 million. It'd be £39 million to build and run community diagnostic centres across our boroughs. And the first part of this has been a consultation. So with the available funding, the North East London Health and Care Partnership, they recently held a consultation looking at different proposals for those different diagnostic services across North East London. And what that consultation feedback is going to ensure that it actually, as a health system, we are providing and delivering safe, high quality services for communities now and in the future. Now, while we're here today to look at what's been proposed at Barking Community Hospital, so already it's worth noting that the Barking Community Hospital is an early adopter CDC site. So that was about what can we do in the here and now to start reducing those waiting lists. So a mobile CT and MRI scanner has been added. Additional ultrasound facilities and X-ray machines have helped us as a trust make really good progress in seeing patients more quickly. As part of the North East London wide consultation that I just touched on, one of the proposals is to expand the services at Barking Community Hospital. So it would be a purpose-built CDC, and it would then have those services, so the CT, MRI, ultrasound and blood tests. It's worth noting that actually as part of the consultation, so one of the questions asked was whether respondents would be happy for Barking Community Hospital to be a good location for a CDC, and 2/3 of the respondents either agreed or strongly agreed that Barking was a good location, which is really positive. It's also worth noting that as a trust, alongside the North East London consultation, we engaged at a local level with residents and councillors and MPs and patient groups to really help us understand that actually, if they are accessing those diagnostic services on their doorstep, what can we do to help improve their experience? So we've actually got an engagement report on our website if you haven't seen it already, and that will explain what people have told us, ranging from how we can make their environment more relaxing to preferred appointment times, whether people would like to have 2 appointments on the same day, or what day of the week is most convenient to them. And here's just a little bit more information about that consultation that engagement that we did, and some of the ways that we promoted that. So that is in a very quick sort of brief introduction into what CDCs are. Vicky, I don't know if you've got anything else you'd like to add.
Just really thinking about the clinical services that will be on offer. As John's mentioned already, it's really the scanning services that is going to be the majority of what we can offer. So there'll be a new MRI scanner and there'll be a CT scanner, and we're going to have extra ultrasound capacity. So that's non-maternity ultrasound. Blood tests, urine tests, blood pressure monitoring, all of that kind of thing is what's going to go on in the new building that we're proposing to put on site at Barking. And that has 2 effects. One is that it gives us extra capacity. That means that we can reduce backlogs and waiting lists that have been much in the media. It means people can get the diagnosis much more quickly. So not only does it mean the number of people waiting can be reduced, but also how long they need to wait to find out potentially what's wrong with them is much quicker. But also it means that some of the time those people at the moment are going to our acute hospital sites and using the scanners and facilities there. By having these sorts of centres, it means that those facilities at the hospitals can just be used for the emergency problems that crop up for people. So that means that in our emergency pathways, we can also improve those and make those go more smoothly and provide quicker diagnostics when somebody is in need. So all in all, great facilities, additional facilities to what we've got on offer, and hopefully in a location that's going to suit the people that need to come and access them. So I think that's just all to add, really, just to partly reiterate and just to add that little bit of detail. Thanks.
Right. Thank you, Vicky. And it's also worth noting as well that actually as part of the engagement that we've done as a trust, I said earlier that we've engaged with local MPs and councillors, and we've visited and we were part of the Barking and Dagenham Health Scrutiny Committee meeting in September, and also the Health and Wellbeing Board meeting, and we provided an update on the proposals, and from the committee and from councillors it was all very positive. And we were also delighted last month to welcome the leader of Barking and Dagenham Council, Councillor Darren Rodwell, and the chair of the Health and Wellbeing Board, Councillor Maureen Warby, to the site in Barking, and they were very excited to see the proposals for the new site. Okay, William and Kelly, if I stop sharing, should I hand over to you to talk about?
While William's loading up the slide, I'll just do a brief introduction. So William and I have been working together over the last few months, looking at the optimum location on the Barking site for building a CDC. So William's going to take us through that shortly. Part of what we've looked at is, we're surrounded by, there's a train line on one side, there's a residential boundary on 2 sides, and we're on an active hospital site. So what was the best shape and size of this building so we could get the facilities in that are required for a CDC? So William's going to take us through how that design has progressed, and explain what the layout's going to be for this building, and then we can take some questions. Thank you. Over to you, William.
Thanks, Kelly. Hi. So this is an aerial shot of the Barking Community Hospital. For those who know it, as Kelly has mentioned, we've got the railway on the south of the site, and the hospital is really conveniently located in that it has public transport just right by your doorsteps, with Upney Station and bus stops just on Upney Road. The Barking Community Hospital is in this Y-shaped block in the middle, and our site is to the west of that, next to the existing car park. We've put a red dot on it. It's currently really underutilized, as you can see on the bottom left photo there. And the whole site is surrounded by mostly residential buildings. We've colored these residential buildings in blue. Just to step back a little bit as well, we also look at the historic information of the site, and we noted that Barking Hospital has always sit on a piece of land that has been for medical use since the 19th century. And the current hospital is a progression from that. In this slide, we can see it used to be much more spacious, and the first hospital was built there in 1890s for the infectious disease hospital. And it feels fitting that our new community diagnostic center is now going to occupy part of this land where area A is shown, and it sort of is a continuation of this history for this area. The next few pages, we are going to just have a look at photos of the surrounding areas. We had a walk around the site before we start looking at the design of this building. And on the top here, we see the Stephen Jules Garden development, where it's formed of these yellow bricks. And we noted that the Hitchcock Community Center was a wide render, external wide render, which really helps it stand out from the yellow background of the development there. And then on Painclose, we see a variety of other red brick buildings and yellow brick buildings. We also walked along Goody Road, and we see more variety of brick buildings and different colors of brick and brick patterns that's being used. And we thought these would be something that it can inform our design using these different colors and the brick bonds. And on the hospital itself, we see different colors again used in the existing extension, where rendered wall was used with white and salmon-colored or orange-colored walls that staggers to form the new extension that was built on 2010s. And our site is just beyond this. The photo here shows you the approach view to our proposed site, which is just beyond the Y building you see on the top photo there. At the background is the existing mobile scanner unit, which we will relocate into the new building. And on the bottom here is the existing hospital view from the site where we are going to locate the new diagnostic center. And so this is just a plan to show you what the existing site looks like. The mobile scanner is at the center of the page here is in the existing car park. And on the left here are just some photos to show the sizes and architectural styles of the existing residential block that's around our site at the moment. We currently have 48 car parks on this parking space on this piece of car park adjacent to our site, with the mobile scanner occupying about 15 spaces. And our new proposal, which we will take you look at later, would increase this to 58 parking spaces. And on the top here, you can see we have bicycle parking there as well, which we will talk about later. One of the important design principles for us is to adopt the use of modern method of construction. We have chosen to build with volumetric modular building. We've put in a photo here just to see, just to show you how it will work. These modular units will be lifted on site so that they will come as a unit that it's sort of finished internally, and this kind of method of construction increases the quality of the build, and it also increases health and safety on site. And importantly, it also saves time on site. And by saving the time on site, it minimizes disruption to patients, as well as minimizes disruption to our neighbors around the site as well. And during all these construction period, the Barking Community Hospital will stay open throughout. These are some of the design options that we looked at just for positioning the building that work with the modular, rectangular modular volumetric module shapes. And we try to position the building so that we can create a good proximity with the existing hospital, and also leaves a piece of land on north side where we can do some landscape that we can offer to the patients when they're waiting as well. And we will now look at the design proposal for our community diagnostic center. This photo here just shows you the proposed center and its relationship with the existing hospital. And you can see we have created a new pedestrian route that takes you from the existing hospital safely through to the new hospital, away from the car park area. And this route would also incorporate bicycle parking, as you can see beyond the trees here. So people arriving on bike would be able to park there and before they go to the new diagnostic center. This is the plan of our proposal, and you can see in the dotted line there is to show the rectangular shape of these volumetric units being installed and pieced together on site. What we've created is a generous landscaped garden on the north side, and then a glass glazed wall that takes you into the reception area. The reception area would therefore look out onto the landscape, and it has windows on two sides to allow to maximize sunlight and have a welcoming and open feel in the lobby. All the clinical spaces are on the ground floor, and so this is very accessible for patients. And all of these clinical space are distributed around a looped kind of corridor, so it's easy for wayfinding for patients when they're inside the building as well. And you can see on the right side of the building is the proposed car park, where we have positioned disabled parking right by the entrance of the building, and we also have provided 2 additional electrical vehicle parking at the end of the car park there. On the upstairs, it's mainly for staff. We have strategically positioned the plant towards the car park and away from the residential neighbors, so we minimize disruption for our neighbors, and we minimize the windows that opens onto the west side as well. These are just some sections to show you the proposed building in relation to our neighbors. So you can see our neighbors are mostly 3-story residential blocks, and the new hospital is really working well in relation to the massing of the existing surrounding buildings. And in terms of architecture, we've looked at various elements to create something that is elegant and something that would add to the architectural quality of the existing neighborhood. We look at different color. We look at different neutral toned bricks. We looked at signage. We look at brick patterns, creating canopy, and also creating an outdoor landscape that is to be used by patients. In terms of external brick, we thought we would look at something that's neutral and elegant, and we opted for a light-colored whitish brick. And this page is just to show you the variation of brick that we have looked at, and the fact that we are keeping a close eye on what we would choose for the end product, and it's going to be a continuous process. These are just some of the elevations to show you again in relation to the existing buildings around our site and our proposed CDC here. In the next section, we just quickly go through the landscape design. So this is our CDC from the entrance, and you can see we've tried to propose perennial planting at the front courtyard of the CDC, where people could have a rest, or they could take themselves away from the sort of could be quite intense clinical areas when they are waiting. We have also created a landscape walk, which you can walk into the landscape. If someone feels anxious, it could help them to come down while they are waiting for their assessment. So this plan probably shows better of our proposal. On the red here is our boundary line facing our residential neighbors. So we propose plants that are taller to shelter, to provide privacy for our neighbors. In the yellow here, you can see a looped kind of walkway where we would introduce that as a meditative walk garden. So patients could sort of walk in a continuous loop to help them pace around. And on the green area is our entrance garden, where we have allowed some seating. And this shows you the relationship between our proposed CDC and the existing community hospital, with the car park in the middle. The pink dot is just to show you how pedestrians could walk between the two buildings and how they would arrive in the new CDC. The red arrow here shows you where patients can be dropped off. And on the top here, we've allowed for both Sheffield stand and also sheltered bicycle parking. Our bicycle parking also integrate a bee hotel so that it could increase biodiversity on site and welcome some insect neighbors to our new hospital. And this page is just to show the boundary relationship between our new proposal and the existing buildings. I think massing-wise, we really worked with the existing sort of height of the buildings around, and we will plant these sort of boundary plants here so that neighbors don't feel overlooked. But what they would have is that they can have a view of the greenery that we've introduced into the site. And so we'll leave you here. So this is our proposed scheme. Hopefully it's an elegant solution and an elegant addition to the neighbor as well. So back to you, John.
Thank you, William. That was, yeah, really, really interesting, actually, just to help sort of to visualize actually what the site could actually look like. If it's okay with you, I'm sure we may have some people here might have some other questions as well. I've got a few questions. If you're happy to go through those.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions? No?
Yeah.
No?
If you're just going to start from a pair of questions, is that
Okay.
okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
Okay.
I've got some as well. Great.
Lovely, thank you.
Okay. You did mention about presently having those MRI scanners and on the parking spaces, and you did say that once the building is up and running, you're going to deoccupy, so you're going to vacate those spaces. But on top of that, are you adding any new parking spaces on site other than what the spaces that are going to be vacated?
Should I answer this? As we've seen earlier, it's overall, there will be a reduction of parking spaces because we have introduced a drop-off area just where our entrance garden is. So that sort of takes off a few spaces. So there's overall a reduction of parking spaces.
Just to add to that, though, it's important to note that there's been a new automatic number plate recognition system installed at the hospital site. So parking behaviours will be a lot better for the site. So it's not clear at the moment how many people are parking to use local tube stations or bus routes, how many people are actually just coming into the hospital. So there's a much better control system coming in, so it'll be more efficient parking.
Yeah, and just to add to that as well, what we've done is we increased the blue badge parking spaces. So I think currently there are 2. We've increased it to 5, and we have also added 2 EV parking spaces for electrical vehicles.
Brilliant. Okay.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
I suppose. I suppose one from me, if that's all right, William. So I was obviously looking there at looking at some of your drawings in terms of where the CDC's, the planned CDC, where it'd be located. So it looks like it's obviously away from the current hospital. So I suppose just to be absolutely clear, the proposed CDC isn't replacing the existing Barking Community Hospital at all. This is a complete addition, isn't it? It's a brand new site.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what this new community diagnostic center does is to add to the existing hospital, and what it does is also to it's replacing the existing mobile scanners that's in the car park. So we are trying to move that away into the unutilized land, so that you have a permanent home for these scanners, and that is very much to sort of increase the healthcare capacity of the neighborhood.
Brilliant. And that's a really important point, actually, because something that the Community Diagnostic Centre programme isn't about replacing services, it's about additional diagnostic capacity. So that's just good to confirm that. Pooja, sorry, did you say you had another question?
Yeah, just another one quickly. You've mentioned, again, tying in with what you've just raised, John, the CDC being pretty close to the residential areas that we have. You have shown that you would have those screens that are going to be enclosing the plant area. But just given the fact that right now it is an underused space, and then you're going to have people who will be utilizing those spaces just to calm themselves down, as you've said, during the day. And during the evening, you'll have potentially those plants running. How is that going to be impacting the people living next door, really?
Well, what we've tried to do is to locate noisy plants towards the car park, and what would happen is that the building itself would shield the noise from these plants. So our neighbors would be protected from that sort of disruption.
That does answer my bit for the evening, but do you imagine during the day there might be some disruptions in terms of, additional vehicle movement around that space, and potentially, if you have children and whatnot who, like you said, would be stressing if they're accompanying their parents, so you'd want to take them for those walks. Are they going to be disrupting the people, or are you imagining that those new tall shrubs and trees that you're putting in there would potentially try to absorb some of the noise?
I would hope that the addition of the building here would also shelter from the noise that comes from the railway. So what we have is actually a building on the south of the site, and we kept the peaceful garden on the north of the site. So hopefully this will not create any additional disruption, even though I do accept that there will be more people coming to this corner of the community hospital.
Yeah, I feel that the front yard will definitely be useful just to help people probably camouflage those noises. Thank you.
I think it's also worth adding in about the size of the building and impact in terms of daylight and sunlight. And we've had reports done just to look at the impact of the building. William, did you want to add a bit more on about that?
I think our section sort of illustrated it quite well in that we are trying to control the building so that it doesn't feel out of place, and it really works with the existing sizes of the buildings around our site as well. And as you said, we've looked at the sort of the solar gains and the sunlight, to see whether there's any impact, and I think the result is positive.
Thank you.
Just a question from me, actually, speaking about impact, but not actually if the CDC was operational, actually more from perspective, hopefully planning permissions received and we can actually build the CDC.
Yeah.
What is the proposed timeline for the construction? When do you think it would be operational?
So I'll take that one on programming then. Thanks, John. So in terms of programming, subject to us successfully securing a planning application approval, we would look, thankfully, due to using modular build, to have quite a short program on site. So currently, if we start the current program, we'd look to be on site towards the end of June for delivering the modular build, and that actually comes in over 1 week. They have about 2 to 3 weeks where they'll be taping the building together and do their final fixes there. But then the majority of the work becomes internal. So actually, in terms of disruption to residents and to people using the Barking site, it'd be quite minimal. Now, there will be some groundworks initially, just to put some foundation and services in. But again, those works are kept to probably half the amount of time from a traditional build being on site.
Wow. So it's half the time by it being a modular build. It's about half the time if it was just sort of...
Yeah, wow. Completely. It shortens us down. It's much more streamlined. A lot of the noisy works, as William's alluded to earlier, a lot of the noisy works, a lot of the works to actually finish these buildings is done in factories. So massive factories where they build these modular units, and most of them come almost finished and then they're joined together on site. Very clever.
It is very, very clever. And I suppose that takes me into the next question. Actually, you've pretty much answered it. Understandably, residents who live close to the site would be wondering how they may potentially be impacted during the construction phase. But actually, what you're saying is it's such a short, sort of isolated time. Is there any other kind of impact we should just be aware of, the way residents may be disturbed during construction?
Well, I'm very mindful that we're working on an active hospital site and that we're also close to residents. So we will adhere to all the guidelines around when it's acceptable to do works which might have some noise to them. We'll be notifying people of those noises and doing everything we can to control the level of noise by the type of equipment that we'll use. But we'll be managing that and communicating that with the local groups. We won't be working out of hours without permission, without notification and agreement.
Brilliant. Anybody have any questions? Any other questions for? No.
Just looking to see if there's any other ones to ask.
I'd like to ask.
Yeah.
Just tying in again with what Kelly just answered to and what John just read. Let's say, for instance, some of the neighbors do still feel that there are some disruptions to their residents. Do you have like a line or a phone number that they'll be reaching out to? How are you going to be managing residents' expectation in terms of the noise level on site? Are they going to be having like a complaint process that they'll be feeding into?
So there's definitely opportunities to feed in any complaints. If it's anybody in the immediate vicinity, you can come via the main hospital site and come and speak and raise that with contractors. We will put information up on the site. So if they were coming into the site, they'd be able to see contact information for myself, for site managers, and we can raise and deal with any problems locally. Of course, if they find there are problems, there's also other routes to go to raise more formal complaints. But the intention is we'll do everything we can to not have that situation. Charlotte,
yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to come in there and confirm to everybody that we've been working closely with Barking and Dagenham Hospital, Barking and Dagenham Council planning team. They've been on this journey with us for the last couple of months. We've presented the various options for the site, and we've worked through the constraints and how we're going to mitigate things like noise. The council's environmental health team will be consulted as part of the planning application, and will be involved in both the construction management and the future operation of the site moving forward.
Thank you.
Great, thanks all.
Right. And for me, it was just one final question, but I think you pretty much answered it, William. I suppose I was just wondering, actually, if all goes through, what improvements will be made to improve some of the transport and access to the site? Obviously, you clearly showed already the walk-in route for pedestrians to get from one hospital to the other. I don't know if there's any sort of anywhere for cyclists, but obviously you've also spoke about parking as well. So, like I said, I think you pretty much answered that. But I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to add.
I guess it's an opportunity for our neighbours to put in their thoughts as well. What we've allowed is really to think in terms of what would improve this area and what we can offer for patients. And we are sort of having this engagement process so that we can hear from our neighbours, really.
Excellent. Okay. Does anybody else have any final questions?
Now, the only thing to note is there any other opportunities for engagement? And I think you've put up on the website now about some engagement dates for if people do want to come and speak to us in person. We'll be doing a drop-in session on the 26th of October. So,
We have,
feel free to come by and ask us any more questions.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point, actually. So I've just shared here, so you can see again on my screen, so next steps. So if people do want to be kept updated with plans, we have got a dedicated email address that people can contact us. And we're also providing regular updates on our website and social media channels. But the drop-in sessions that we're hosting next week, we've got a public drop-in on Wednesday, the 26th of October, which is 2 till 5 p.m. And that's at Hedgecote Community Centre, so really close to the site. But we're also very mindful that some people won't be able to join us during the day. So we're hosting a virtual drop-in next Thursday evening, 6 till 7, which people can join. So we've got contact details on the website, how people can get in touch, and they can also contact that email address to request a link, and we can get that sent out to them. But yeah, that's what we're doing next week. So we're really looking forward to speaking with local residents and answering any queries that they have got. And I suppose actually tying in with next steps. So once this run of engagement has finished, what would be the next steps, Kelly and William? Was it be the planning application going in?
Yeah, I can.
Oh, sorry, Charlotte, you certainly answered that one.
So we are working closely with a technical consultant team to pull the planning application together. Shortly after our consultation has finished, we will be submitting the planning application to the council. At that point, you will also have the opportunity to submit any comments or queries, letters of support. We always welcome support for our schemes. So if you do have many positive things to say, we'd love for you to submit your support to the council as well.
Excellent. Okay, I don't know if anyone else got any other queries or any other points to raise. I found this session really, really helpful, actually, just to understand actually, what could be coming to the site. It's exciting. Okay, if we're finished, then we will end it there. But no, thank you very much, and look forward to next week.
Thanks all.
Thank you.
Cheers.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.